Hello and welcome to today's Money Fit Live. My name is Todd Christensen. I am the Education Manager at Money Fit by DRS. Today's topic, how to fix your bills and your spending, literally and figuratively. We'll talk about both. But really, this is what we want to talk about. How do you make your finances boring so the rest of your life can be exciting? Here's what I mean. If you have ever been to a good movie, mystery movie, or one that you don't know what's going to happen till the end of the movie, that's exciting. There's intensity and suspense. That's great for movies. You don't want that to happen with your finances. You don't want to be wondering, well, what's the end of the month going to be like? Am I going to have enough money for my bills or not? So that's what we're addressing today, how to fix that and make your finances, your budget boring so the rest of your life can be exciting. Now, if you're joining me live today, please feel free to use our chat box. Text to me or chat me any questions you might have. I will address them. And if you're not doing this live, if you're watching this later, you are always welcome. Anybody's welcome to give us a call, 800-432-0310. My email is education@moneyfit.org. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. This is why we do what we do. We're a nonprofit nationwide nonprofit credit counseling agency. We've been around since '96, so we've been around the block a few times. I've been a financial educator since 2004, and in the time since then till now, I have done about 2,000 workshops on personal finance. I do that not because I've always been good with my money, but I love what I do because I was terrible with my money when I was younger. I was the one that maxed out their first credit card at age 21 in less than 36 hours. I never had a budget. I never looked at my money, my spending. I rarely, if I ever balanced my checkbook register back then, I was pretty happy with myself. But that was it. So I would like others to stay and avoid the problems that I had when I was younger. That's where my passion comes from. All right, so let's talk about, again, fixing your monthly bills, also known as making your budget boring. Here's what it entails. One, let's understand the difference between the three types of expenses. Any kind of expense you have in your finances, in your monthly spending, any kind of spending you can do, can be placed in one of these three categories: fixed, variable, or periodic. Fixed is it happens every single month at the same amount, the same price, same cost to us every month. It doesn't matter how much of it we use or not, it stays the same. Variable happens every month still, but our usage or prices fluctuate, and so the amount we spend on it goes up and down from month to month. And then the periodic expenses, those are things that happen once every couple of months, once every 3 or 5, 10 months, once a year, once a lifetime. They might be expected. We might know the exact date they might happen, but they might be unexpected. We may not know at all. We can expect many of them will come, but some of them may be completely out of the blue. Now, the reason why we're going through this is because it's important, and you see the arrows there. We want to move all of the expenses from periodic down here up to fixed. We want to fix all of our expenses, because think about it this way. Even though some of the largest expenses in our budget are fixed, they still don't cause us that many troubles. Rent or mortgage, it's the same amount every month. It's huge. It's usually the largest expense in a household. We know it's coming. We know it's due. We're used to it. We're ready for it. We plan for it. Even if we don't write it down, we have it here. And so we keep this fixed one right there. we were able to make those payments. People have car payments, big, huge student loan payments. We know when they're due. Those are not the things that cause the biggest problems. The further down this list we go, the more problems they can cause, these expenses can cause in our finances. So the idea is there a way to take a periodic, take variable expenses, and fix them so we don't even have to worry about it? The problem with periodic, we don't know when they're going to happen, usually. Sometimes we do. But they always seem to catch us by surprise. Isn't there a way that we can just take care of them, and so that every month we got it fixed? Yes. Same thing with the variable. Even though the usage or the price was going up and down, isn't there a way that we can just spend the same amount every month? Yes. So let's go ahead and get into that. Okay, fixed expenses. Things like car payments, insurance, home and homeowners insurance, debt payments. These are the fixed expenses in our lives. Again, they are some of the largest expenses we have, and yet we know when they're going to happen. Most of you, if I were to talk to you, if you have a car payment, you could probably tell me almost to the penny, certainly to the dollar, how much your car payment is. Same thing with a mortgage or with rent. You know how much it is because it happens every month. It's important. You take care of it. Let's talk about, though, variable expenses. There's three big ones. There is groceries, utilities, and gasoline. Those are the three big variable expenses that we deal with every month. Now, let's start with utilities. These are heating, electricity. We can sometimes include internet, water, sewer, trash for city if you have to pay city utilities or services. Sometimes in the winter, of course, our heating bill goes way up, and then it comes back down in the spring. Then it goes way back up. Our electricity bill goes way back up in the summer for air conditioning, and then they come back down in the fall. They just have this cycle going up and down and up and down. The great thing is the utility companies themselves make it possible for us to fix those expenses. Simply call them and ask for what most will term a level pay. They basically go back the last 12 months or so, sometimes 15 months, and they just average. What's your average monthly payment? That becomes your new monthly payment for the next 12 months. Every year on the 12-month anniversary, they will go back again and recalculate your average usage and bills, and they'll start you again. Sometimes they'll raise it. I've had it a couple of times where our monthly bill has gone down for a year. It just depends on your usage. There are no additional fees. A lot of people think, well, I don't want to do that because I'm going to have to pay extra. No, you don't. If you leave, if you get onto that and you're making these monthly payments that are a lot lower, let's say your heating bill in the wintertime, you're making payments that are about this low when normally they'd be up here, and you leave in February or March or April, you move out, there's going to be a discrepancy. You're going to have to owe money. That is true. The opposite, though, is also true. If you start with this level pay in, let's say in the spring, and your usage is down here, but you're making these normal, regular level pay payments, and you somehow decide you're going to move in October or September, then you will have paid into it a lot more than what you're using, and you will get a refund on that. But generally, just every month, it's going to be the same. It's great. You don't have to worry about it anymore. You know exactly what it's going to be. No more sweating to death when you go out to when you see your heating bill in your inbox. Even though it's 10 degrees outside, you were sweating because you never knew how big and massive it was going to be. Now you level pay, you know exactly what it's going to be every single month. Same thing with electricity, gas company, oil company. Ask them if they have a program like that. A lot of places in the East, on the East Coast area, those will have monthly options for level pay. Cities, some cities will have you pretty much do a level pay anyway for a year, and they'll adjust it. Others might only bill you every other month. If that's the case, you might have to figure this out on your own. You just take your monthly payment that you're going to pay this month. Next month, you come up with half of it and put it in a special savings account so that you don't spend it. And then the next month, you have the other half. Now you know exactly how much you have to put into that special city services savings account every month. Groceries, wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be wonderful if you could just go ahead and grab your groceries, any store you want, and you walk out the door and you say, hey, whatever, I'll just pay you the same amount every month. I'll just come in and get what I need when I want, leave when I want. That just doesn't happen that way. What you need to do with groceries is pretty simple. How do you fix your grocery bill? Basically, you figure out what you normally are going to spend or what you can afford on your groceries. You take that out of your checking account in cash, and you go into the store with just that cash. That's the amount you have. You've just budgeted for your groceries for the week, or for every 2 weeks, or every month, how much it's going to be. But you take the same amount every month or every paycheck out of your paycheck, and you only take that cash with you. That way, you're not going to be tempted to overspend. You're going to be tempted, but you're not going to be able to overspend because all you've got is cash. You want to fix your grocery bill? Spend cash. Not only will it keep you there, but here's another thing. When you use debit or credit or even prepaid, any kind of plastic, on average, we spend about 15% more than we would using cash. So if you want to start saving 15% immediately off your monthly spending, go with cash only on groceries and other things like that. So there you've just fixed it. If you want to really fix it, you can even open up a separate checking account. So when your paycheck comes in, you transfer over whatever it is that you have set your level pay for groceries. You transfer that over into that other savings account. Use bill pay, transfer, online, whatever. And that's what you use. You only use that account for grocery spending. Okay, what about gasoline? How can you do this with gasoline? You can't go into the gasoline store and say, hey, can I only pay you the same amount every month? They don't have level pay. It's going to be a little trickier, but you can still do it. You, again, figure out what you typically spend or what you expect to spend on gasoline on a month-to-month basis. And then you take that cash out, you put it in an envelope, put that in the car, so that when you need it, you can stop and get your gasoline. This also forces you to, in some months, some weeks, forces you to be much more mindful about your trips. You're not going to take that extra trip or 2 or 3 to the store back and forth because you keep forgetting something. You're going to be much more mindful of your spending list and shopping list. But that's groceries. Gasoline. So that's how you fix your variable expenses. How about your periodic expenses? Can you think of any periodic expenses? Some of the big ones are medical emergencies, car repairs. In fact, not just car repairs, but car replacement. Every 5, 10, 15 years, most households are going to be replacing their vehicle. That is a periodic expense. And if you're not ready for it, you're going to do what 90% of people do probably. I'm just guessing on that figure. You're going to just go into the dealership and you are going to borrow money, basically, and increase the price of that car because of all the interest you're going to have to pay on the loan. Whereas if you could save up for it, you could save yourself a lot of interest over time. Car repairs, car replacement, medical emergencies. But then there are the things that we should expect. And we know they're coming. Sometimes we even know the exact date that they're coming. Once a year, for example, a lot of people celebrate Christmas, and it happens on the same month and day every year. December 25th, there are going to be gifts for a lot of people who are going to be buying gifts for under the tree. If you figure out what you're planning to spend, or if you set a limit, and then you just divide that by 12, now every month you put that same amount into a special savings account that's just for gift giving. You've just fixed your Christmas gift giving. If you celebrate birthdays, you got to do the same thing for birthdays, right? Kids have birthdays every year. That's the crazy thing. No matter what we got them last year, they still want another birthday this year. So how many months until their next birthday? How much are you willing to spend on their birthday? And then divide that, the amount, by how many months are left, and that gives you how much to put into their into a special gift giving account every month until you're ready to go shopping. Then there are the things that we don't know when they're going to happen. We have an idea they're going to happen. We just don't know exactly when. Let me give you some examples. You go with me on a tour in your home. Walk in your door. Walk into the kitchen. Look around, and anything that goes buzz, whether you're doing it all the time or only when you're using it, it's an appliance, for example, washers or dishwashers, microwaves, refrigerators, ovens, stoves. Those are eventually going to wear out, break down. You're going to need to replace them. How often? That's the trick. But in general, you can expect major appliances to last about 12 to 15 years. Some of them will last a lot longer. Others will last until the three-year warranty or 1-year warranty is up, and that's about it. But most you can expect to last 12 to 15 years. So if your refrigerator is 10 years old, you have about 5 years before you're going to need to replace it. How much are you willing to spend for your next refrigerator? Let's just say $2,000. Okay, you have 5 years to come up with $2,000. I'm not going to do the math on that because that's 60 months. 2,000 divided by 60, you go ahead and do the math. But that's how much you have to come up with every month, $333 probably every year. Divide that by 12, and that gives you how much to figure it out to save every month. Now you put that, let's just say it's 330, so that's $30 a month. I don't know, might be more. Into your savings account. A special savings account just for appliances. You guys are probably laughing at me because my bad math right there. But 330 divided by 12, 15. How about closer to $15? Okay, $15 a month right into your savings account. And that, now you've just fixed that periodic expense. But then you have to do the same thing for your washer and dryer. For your dishwasher, actually dishwashers are more about 9-10 years. Microwave, which is a little less, about 5-6 years. And then you have to look around your house. What else needs to be replaced every once in a while? Furniture. If you have kids, it's going to be a lot sooner to replace that furniture than if you don't have kids or dogs or cats. They are going to require that you replace it more often. How much are you willing to pay? Bed, and look in your bedroom. Mattresses need to be replaced every 5-10 years typically. If you're lucky, you can go longer than that. It's usually not recommended. Things need to be replaced. Anything that you can't afford to replace with a single paycheck, you need to save for. If you can come up with $1,000 in a paycheck, then you don't need to be worrying so much about your dishwasher because it's only going to cost you $500, $600, $700 at the most. Well, unless you want the really ultra high end model. But if you can't come up with $200 for a used couch, you better start saving. That's how this works. So that's how you do the periodic. And then just emergencies general. You just want to figure out how much you're going to be putting into. It's usually recommended to have 3 to 6 months worth of your survival expenses, your housing, transportation, food, and communication, cell phone and internet. Have about 3 to 6 months worth of that. That's just a recommendation. Other recommendations might be, hey, put 10% of your take-home pay or 15% of your take-home pay into an emergency savings and just build up that savings. You're going to need it. Everybody knows we're going to need it at some point. So it's better to be prepared. Take all those periodic expenses, move them from down here all the way up to the top so that we can be prepared whenever they do happen. Okay, so that's how you make your finances boring. Here's the system that you set up now. I've been referring to, put it in the special savings account, put it here. Your money comes in on payday, paydays. What do you do with it? If you leave it in checking, you're going to spend it. Human nature, if it's in checking at the end of the month, we spend it. Okay, well then let's put it into a savings account. You put all this money into a savings account for emergencies and gifts and household and next car repair and repair and replacement and vacation travel, all that kind of stuff. You put it into a savings account. But if you only have one savings account, what happens when Christmas rolls around? You got this money over here and you're thinking, okay, now how much is that was for Christmas? How much was it for vacation? How much? Yeah, we'll just do it all for Christmas. I'll make up for it later. You will raid your savings account, your funds, for whatever is next. So instead, simply go to your bank or credit union and ask them to open up multiple accounts, savings accounts, one for each of these. You see, one for each. That says next car and car repairs. This one down here is supposed to say household and yard. Open up a separate savings account for each of those. And then automatically transfer on payday. Money just automatically goes in. It seems like a lot of work, but once you automate it, it just makes things really simple. The money comes in, and then it just goes right back out. And now you know what you have bill paying there, and now you know how much to spend. Some people might even have a second checking account where they, I mentioned, for the groceries, but you can also have another checking account just for the fun stuff, the money that you can spend however you want during the month, entertainment, dining out, whatever it is. Okay, so those are the accounts to set up so you're ready when things happen. Let's say it's coming up on summer and you've been saving money and you can, instead of wondering how much you have for summer vacation this year and wondering if you're going to go into credit card debt, you can look right at your vacation and travel account. Say, look, we have this much money. Let's maximize it. What can we do with it? All right. So that's your savings account. Let's now just briefly, as we get close to finishing up here, talk about the theory of change. If you have been living paycheck to paycheck and not have any kind of savings, or you are kind of scattered on how you're making all these payments and you're worried about it, here's the theory of change. This is how you change your own behavior. Picture your future. What does your future look like? How would you like it to look? Wouldn't it be nice if your finances were boring and life is exciting? Picture that. What does it look like to not worry about having shortfalls at the end of the month? How does it feel? And then compare that to how do you feel now? Is there a difference? That difference is often the driver, the motivator in our change. Where we want to be and where we really would like to be. The difference there creates dissonance in our lives. And we don't like that. We want it to be like the future. And so we will try and make change. So you're asking yourself if you're content. Most of us aren't. And then say, okay, well, what am I doing to improve chances of getting from here to here, where I want to be? What are the steps I need to go through? What are the things that have to happen? And then tell yourself, I'm going to do it. I'm going to change. Not only tell yourself, but consider sharing it with somebody. Getting some social buy-in from family members or friends, whether it's in person or on Facebook, can really increase your likelihood of making a change. And finally, ask yourself, what is one thing you can do today, now, right now, within the next 20 minutes, that will get you one step closer to what you want your future to be. In the case of today's presentation and today's topic, start writing out. What are my variable expenses? How much are they? Or as soon as we're done here, or you go ahead and pause me now, come back later. Welcome back. Call your utility company right now. You don't know what the number is? You got a phone, use it. Look it up, call them and say, hey, I'd like to get on level pay. There's only a few reasons why they won't put you on level pay, and that's usually if you're behind on your bills. If you get caught up, they will almost immediately be able to put you on level pay. What are your other expenses? Think of your birthday gifts. If you're thinking, where to start? Start with birthday gifts. How much are you willing to spend on those close to you? Who's having birthdays that you really feel you want to give a gift to? And who of your family and friends are you okay just giving a card to? You can usually afford to give a car out of a paycheck, but generally a lot of people like to go crazy on birthdays. You're going to prepare for that. Figure out how much you're going to spend, divide it by how many months left, and now you know how much your level pay is your fixed expenses for birthdays. Okay, take one step. Just please, if you don't do it now, if you don't do it today, by the time the sun sets, or by the time the clock strikes 12, or the time you wake up in the morning, it's not going to happen, and you're going to have wasted all this time with me. Anyway, there's the theory of change. I'm going to try and be putting in calls to action on all my classes, these webinars, so that you have some additional resources that you know are out there. Here's a bunch of free resources we've got at our academy. A lot of budgeting classes and webinars you can take 24/7 for you, for kids, for teenagers, for others. There's some calculators available there at moneyfit.org/budget-calculators. We have a great section called Simple Finances. You can go there and it'll give you, there's some downloadable budgets you can use. We have a lot of calculators you can do online or that you can download. And finally, if you are in a situation where you're dealing with debt and you want to figure out how to get out of debt so you can use that money for something more exciting like your future, then do consider talking to somebody here at MoneyFit at the 800-432-0310, or go to the do-it-yourself section, moneyfit.org/do-it-yourself debt relief with hyphens in between. All right, thank you so much for being here. And again, if you have questions, I'm going to watch the chat box here. But if you're otherwise, if you're just watching this as a recording, thank you for joining me. And I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Thanks.